What's up, guys? MMAGAME here, bringing you another video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. And today we are going to be talking about some real-life MMA. So if you guys want to hear me talk about more real-life MMA, make sure to hit that like button with a 1-2 combo. Also, guys, if you have any questions for me about real incoming MMA bouts, UFC, Bellator, does not matter, anything real MMA, then leave your questions in the comments. And if you see a question that you agree with and also want to hear me answer or give my opinion, then leave a thumbs up on that question, so I will give those top priority. We're going to try to get a little series going here where I just kind of talk about up-and-coming fights and answer your guys' questions, get you guys involved, because I do respond in the comments, but I think in a video form it's a little bit better. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So again, if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure to hit the like button. If you don't like these videos and you just want me continue with the gameplay videos, go ahead and leave a dislike and I'll judge based on the ratings on this video. But this video, I'm going to start off by talking about Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. It is a huge fight this Saturday. Man, every single McGregor fight just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. He just finds a way to promote the fights. He's an amazing promoter just by himself. Obviously with the help of the UFC, but he really goes the extra mile with media and just everything. So it's a humongous fight. It's awesome that Nate Diaz is going to get this fight for the main reason that he's going to get a huge payday, probably his biggest payday of any fight. So I'm happy about that. It's basically a win-win for Nate Diaz. I mean, worst case scenario, he gets knocked out. He sits out for a year. If he gets brutally knocked out, and yeah, but he makes, you know, who knows how much he'll actually make. But a little bit about the fight. It was, I think it was 14 or 10 days notice, something like that, where they both kind of figured out that they were switching opponents. There's been some interesting things that I've heard about this fight leading up to it. I saw an interview with Nate Diaz's boxing coach, Richard Perez, and they were saying, like, Conor McGregor in the press conference, if you guys haven't seen that press conference, it's pretty epic. Definitely want to check out that. But McGregor was saying that he offered Nate the fight at 155. He said he couldn't make the weight or something. There was a discrepancy, and then he offered it at 160 and then 165 and then 170. But Nate said all along that he was able to make 155, which is also what Nate's coach said. And then Nate's coach actually brought up the fact that he thought that McGregor actually was the one who couldn't make the weight, which is really kind of crazy. And you never know, but it's sort of crazy because McGregor does look really big, and it's sort of, and then you bring up the accusation. Let me know in the comments if you guys think McGregor's on steroids or not. But basically, Nate and Nate's coach both think that McGregor's on steroids. And when you think about the amount of weight that he has put on, even visually, he looks like he's put on a significant amount of weight. And now, I'm not saying that I think that he is on steroids or not, but there's definitely questions. So anyway, with the whole weight aside, I'm sure both guys will make the weight at 170 and there won't be anything wrong. It's going to be a 5-round fight, I'm pretty sure. So the whole card's pretty decent. We got also Holly Holm on the card. I won't be really talking about that fight very much. Basically, I think Holly Holm's going to, I don't really think that fight is going to be very competitive. I do think Miesha Tate's pretty tough and everything, but I think with the Holly Holm's footwork and her ability to keep the distance and just spark people up, I think it's going to be pretty one-sided beat down for Holly Holm in that one. I think she'll keep the belt. But with the McGregor fight is a little bit interesting because Conor doesn't have the same amount of time to wear on his opponent mentally. Usually when he signs to fight the people, he has a long time to research his opponent, really start to poke at certain parts of them, whether it be their personal lives. If you saw with RDA, he went after his family and where he lived and all this stuff. So he really wasn't able to do too much of that with Nate Diaz, especially because Nate Diaz really is very strong. Both Diaz brothers are incredibly strong mentally, so it's not going to really work the same on them. It could even work the opposite way with that. So that's kind of interesting. So it's kind of just going to be, and with the fight being on such short notice, there's really, it's like, okay, it's a week, you know, what real, it's about to happen. So I don't think the mental games are going to be a big thing. Now the pressure could be, but again, Nate Diaz has been in so many huge fights for the UFC. I don't really think pressure is going to be a huge thing. He did say he's going to go in and kill or be killed, which is sort of how they always go about fighting, to be honest. So, but how do I think the fight's actually going to unfold? Well, McGregor comes forward, Nate comes forward. So we saw what happened when Jose came forward. Again, it's a completely different fighter, but I think if you go toe-to-toe with McGregor, you get knocked out. Simple as that. I mean, I think if you exchange punches with him, it's gonna go not good. But I don't think Nate will do that. I think he'll try to keep his distance and use his range with his boxing. And I really hope that he somehow tries to get the fight to the ground and use that grappling, either trying to pull guard, or what I would love to see him do is sort of like how Fabricio Verdum fought in the fight with Overeem, where he's kind of like playing possum, and sort of he'll get into little exchanges and might get hit here or there, but then he'll sort of act like he got more hurt than he actually did and sort of roll back into his guard in the hopes that Conor might come in and enter into his guard to look to ground and pound, where he could try to set up submissions from there. That's what I hope he tries to do, is just keep his distance and sort of look to play possum and try to get the fight to the ground somehow. But I think he's just going to come in and do what Nate Diaz always does and just look to land those boxing combinations, those straights. And so if he does that, I think McGregor's going to be able to keep his distance and just really be able to move around him and look to land some kicks, because Nate does have a bigger reach than McGregor, which is, I think, the first time ever in any of his fights that's the case. So if he keeps his range, I can see him landing on McGregor, but ultimately I think his leg and his lack of movement, I mean, you got a guy with Nate who doesn't really do a lot of lateral movement. He kind of comes in, throws straights, and he doesn't really move even as close to as much as Conor does. Conor's moving all over the place, in, out, bouncing in and out, side to side. And so I think that Nate's kind of going to be like a sitting target for McGregor to set up some crazy kicks. And I think he is going to look to just rip that body and throw some of those front kicks, those little snapping, poking front kicks to the body. And I think he's going to use those again, the spin kicks to the body. And I think it's just going to be a lot to handle for Nate early on. If he can get past that first round and weather the storm, then I think he has a good chance at even winning the fight if he can get out of that first round. But I think he's gonna have to deal with so many attacks and techniques in that first round that I don't think he's too familiar with. Or that he's might not have seen before. He refers to it as ninja shit. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. So we're going to wait and see. I mean, either way, it's going to be an absolutely amazing fight. I can only hope that it goes more than one round. But if I'm honest, I find it really tough. I find it hard to see Nate getting out of that first round and being able to weather that storm. Even with how durable the Diaz brothers are, I think Conor's going to more target the body. But I do hope it goes to a second round, but I don't think there's no way it's going to a third round. I think Conor's going to put the pressure on like he does, and then if Nate does come forward, he's going to look to land big counters, and I think he will put Nate away within 2 rounds. So that is basically my prediction of the fight. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this fight. Also, any of your thoughts on up-and-coming fights. And again, guys, if you want to hear any of my predictions for future fights, leave those in the comments. Also, hit the thumbs up on any of the comments that you guys also agree with, wanting me to talk about, and we will keep this series rolling. Thank you guys for all the support. The game, EA Sports UFC 2, is getting close, but I had to do a video on this real-life MMA fight because it's insane. I will be streaming EA Sports UFC 2 on twitch.tv. I'm going to try to get the most highest quality stream I possibly can. And we're going to be taking fighter requests. So anything, game modes, if you guys want to go in to the twitch.tv chat and say what's up. We got a great community over there. Have so much fun. Link for that will be in the description, as well as my Twitter, where I talk about real MMA even more. So guys, that's the video. Hope you enjoy it. Until next time, this has been MMA Game.
Peace.